So let's get straight to the point. You know the Oklahoma State program as well as anybody, the success that Mike Gundy has had. So how difficult is it as an alum and someone covering the team, though, to watch what happened the last year?
It was difficult. It was difficult to say the least. I mean, when you've been brought into a program like I have recently in the last decade or so, 2 decades, if you want to add, the years that I was there, you're used to winning. That's the tradition of Oklahoma State football as of recent. And so seeing the team go the way it did, especially with the expectations that it had during the preseason with the returning starting quarterback and a Doak Walker Award winner, Ollie Gordon, and guys like Brennan Presley and so many others, and then to see the kind of the injuries that unfold, this is a game of football and injuries are a part of it. And to see that unfold on the defensive side with Colin Oliver and Nick Martin, it kind of hurts your heart and thought, that Oklahoma State would, find a way like they have been these last couple of years of just putting wins on the board. And to see that not take place, it was devastating. But hopefully, as the cardiac Cowboys do, they bounce back and they put together something that we can be proud of this year in 2025.
Deion, they have new coordinators, some of which are familiar to the program, like Doug Meacham, but they have a new quarterback who's really young. All of these wholesale changes. Mike Gundy strikes me as a guy who doesn't enjoy change all that much, as in backed into a corner. What have you seen from him so far as he deals with a season that he hasn't really had in the past, at least not since the very beginning of his career at Oklahoma State?
Yeah, man. I mean, we're all athletes, creatures of habits, and man, especially the good ones. And Coach Gundy, if you could ask him, I think first and foremost, he's an athlete and he's a quarterback before he's even a coach. So, going through a devastating, season that he did have last year is not, to his liking, to say the least. But here's the thing. As athletes do, now you have doubters. Now you got a couple of haters. Now you got people, doubting what you can do. So as an athlete, as a competitor, as an individual who loves to go out there and compete, I'm sure he's excited to prove a couple of people wrong and get back into that win column and show everybody that Coach Gundy and Oklahoma State is still a big-time program in the country and is poised for success.
So did you ever have somebody doubt you, and what was that like? Tell me, maybe as you were growing up or at some point that people did not think you could handle the game.
Yeah, Sydney Mentor, my fifth grade girlfriend, she still doesn't think that I can. She never thought, guys, that I could swing the highest in the class. I was on that swing, and I told her I'm the best swinger in the class, and she doubted me. And you know what? Field day, I proved her wrong, and everybody was singing my praises.
What an incredible memory! Yeah. I love that.
We never forget. We never forget.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I brought something up that might have
I would have invited her to a game at Oklahoma State and waited until you made a play.
Hey, remember me?
There we go.
No,
all started the swings.
She saw me on ABC. She saw me on ABC. She knew. I don't know if she knows, but she knows. She isn't right now, but she knows. Deion Imade, Division I athlete, captain of the Oklahoma State Cowboys, Big 12 champion. Yeah. Trust me. She knows. She remembers the swing.
Yeah. During the time of the Big 12, when it started in '96, UT won the first, and we know Oklahoma, they won a bunch of them, as you know, but Oklahoma State has been around, and they've been a part of that. What was that like to win it, to be a Big 12 champion?
Man, it was surreal. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, when we won that Big 12 championship, I was a sophomore. And you got to remember, coming out of Rowlett High School, a team in the biggest classification of Texas high school football, 5A at the time, I was, our high school team was just, fighting to make the playoffs in that Garland Independent School District. So I went from trying to fight every year to make the playoffs in Texas high school football, facing schools like Allen and, Katy and all kinds of the big DeSotos, fighting to compete against those guys. And then one day I look up and I'm a freshman at a Big 12 school, and we're fighting for, at one point, a Big 12 championship. And then I look up and I'm going against guys like Blackman and Whedon in practice, guys that are, being talked about on ESPN as the best players at their position, and we're over here fighting for a national championship. I was like, I caught myself at one point at practice as a sophomore, and I was like, and this was before the Texas A&M game, and I was like, man, I have made a major leap in my life where I'm literally fighting and competing with some of my hometown buddies to make it to playoffs in Texas high school football, to now competing with guys, some of the best athletes in the country, to make and win a national championship. It's very, very surreal, and it comes at you full speed really fast. But at a certain point, you're just a kid out there playing ball, playing the game that you love, and you don't really, think about the big pomp and circumstance. You just think about playing ball and having fun and just competing against the guy in front of you, and even competing against the guy beside you, because we're all fighting to be on that field and, earn the right to say that we were Big 12 champions. Because you don't want to be that guy that was, they look down the roster 20 years from now and like, you played in like 3 games. You don't want that. So you're fighting to, get on that field and contribute and, have a reason to go down on, go to the bars or go to the house parties that later that evening and, pop your collar a little bit and say, yeah, I did something today.
Deion, given the wholesale change on the roster that Oklahoma State's had, how quickly can fans expect them to gel? And is this something that also, this is where the Gundy magic comes in, is when everybody thinks that he's about to have a down year, or that the ship is sinking. That's when he likes to sneak up and beat people and then show that, like, look, there's a reason I've had this job for 2 decades.
Well, I mean, everybody's kind of got caught wind of that. They're always, you can ask anybody in any office building. I mean, I just left work here a little bit ago here in Tulsa, and everybody, walking through the halls, at the water cooler, in the kitchen, they all know when, the Cowboys are down and Coach Gundy is, everybody's betting against him. That's when they, produce their best work. But this is a different day and age of college football, man. So all these, things that are trends that normally happen, you can't count on those things being happening again. So for the fact of the matter is like, this is an opportunity to prove that we can still do that. It's going to be interesting to see if that's going to be the case. But to answer your question, your first initial question, I went to practice on Sunday and was able to see how these guys are gelling with one another, because that was the thing that I had, hesitations about too. I mean, everybody around the country is trying to put the best team on the field that they can. And to do that, you have to get in the transfer portal and you have to go get the best athletes to win on a Saturday night. So, but here's the thing. When you ask players, especially former players, what's the best part? What's the thing that you miss when you're done playing? Everybody talks about the locker room and being with your guys and hanging out and having that camaraderie. Is that thing still going to be a part of the locker room, or is it just going to be guys in and out throughout, the years, and you don't really have that bond? Well, coaches are trying to cultivate that. I mean, at practice, you hear coaches, back in the day, me being a former defensive back, we're going at those wide receivers, those deep wide receivers, might I add, too. We were going at those guys. All right. We were competing against them. We were talking trash. And in that situation, you could see the coaching staff knowing that it's a competitive environment, allowing those guys to compete and talk a little bit, but also reminding them, this is your teammate. This is your teammate. Remember, we're still a part of a team. So that's something that I was unfamiliar with, because they used to let us get after it. But now they're letting them get after it, but also reminding them and trying to cultivate this environment, this teamwork, this Cowboy culture, to remind them, hey, you can talk a little trash and have a little fun, but also remember, this is your teammate, and make sure you guys are good and you guys are buddies, because we got to come together faster than we used to.